Well, today we were notified by the firefighters union that they were breaking off our mediation discussions and that they had elected to opt for arbitration under Proposition C, or the amendment to the city charter. We obviously were hoping and expecting we could reach an agreement through mediation, but as they identified in their press conference, arbitrations is a tool, and we were fully aware that they had the ability to exercise that, or at least opt for it under Proposition C, and we'll be prepared to go down that path now that they've elected to do that.
Are you surprised by that one?
Well, surprised in that, again, we had hoped to continue discussions, and always we were hopeful that we would have mediation until we reached an agreement. So yes, to that extent, we were surprised by it.
You mentioned this. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry, because just to clarify, we didn't show under Proposition 3 have up to 60 days, is that correct, or before arbitration?
No, under Proposition C, they had the ability to opt for arbitration at any time, and they had a unilateral right to do that. The city didn't have that right, so that's what they've opted to do, is ask for arbitration under Proposition C.
What does that tell you?
Well, that tells us that they've elected to use that tool and to cut off discussions in terms of mediation, trying to reach an agreement through mediation.
What do you think of this?
Well, again, we had every expectation and hope that we could reach an agreement through mediation. Now that they have opted for arbitration, we will be prepared for that and go down that path.
Ricky mentioned that this kind of brings a finality to something that's been a kind of bitter and years-long contract dispute. Is there relief on your end, at least, that you'll know that in the next few months this will be resolved?
Well, there'll be relief on part of the city when we have an agreement that's fair to our employees and to the taxpayers. So to the extent we can do anything to reach that goal and that objective, we'll be relieved when we get there.
They said they'd like the arbitration meetings to be in public and didn't see any reason why they couldn't be in public. Do you guys agree with that?
We have an expectation that the arbitration proceedings will be in public, but a lot in terms of what the rules of engagement will be up to the arbitrators. Once they select an arbitrator, we select an arbitrator, there will be a third selected. They have a lot of discretion and leeway as to what the rules of engagement will be for arbitration.
Any idea who the arbitrator will be for the city?
No, we have some candidates in mind, but we have not come to a definitive decision on that.
So for the public who may not understand what this involves, would you briefly explain what this is? What is arbitration?
Well, arbitration is binding arbitration, which means there'll be a panel of 3 arbitrators, one selected by the firefighters union, one selected by the city. They'll select a third, and those 3 will hear what the city proposes for an agreement. They'll hear what the firefighters union proposes from an agreement. They will get together and they will decide what the collective bargaining agreement will be. And it doesn't have to be all one. In other words, they don't have to select either the firefighters or the cities. It could be selecting different elements from each proposal, but they will determine what the agreement will be, how long it's going to be, what the terms of it will be.
Do you think, in a sense, the voters got what they wanted in terms of Proposition 3 as a result?
Well, again, one of the things under Proposition 3, as I think you pointed out, is that the arbitration panel will ultimately determine what the collective bargaining agreement will be. So it won't be voted on by the union membership, and it won't be voted on by city council. It will be a determination made by the arbitration panel.
In terms of next steps, so I think you guys have 15 days, right, to name an arbitrator. Is that?
That's correct.
And then it has to start within 45 days. Is that your understanding?
It has to start within 45 days. There's the ability for the parties to mutually agree to extend that. And again, a lot will depend on what the arbitrators determine will be the rules of engagement going forward.
And once it starts, is there a 20-day period for it to take place?
There's a 20-day period for it to take place, I believe, yes. I can't remember. I don't think there's a time frame in terms of them giving a decision.
And you mentioned that the arbitrators can agree to extend out if past that 45-day period. Is there a certain limit on how many times they can extend or how far they can extend?
No, there's no limit on that. Again, even under the Proposition C, it looks like the arbitrators have quite a bit of leeway and discretion in terms of determining what the timelines are, what the rules of engagement are, et cetera. Obviously, they'll have to work with both the city and the union in terms of what the deadlines will be, what the extensions, if any, will be. It'll be one, I would think it would be a collaboration with the two parties.
I know you're limited in what you can talk about in regards to mediation, but I know the letter that Ricky wrote mentioned some of the issues they're looking for in terms of healthcare and wages. Can you talk about what the city's looking for?
Well, as they mentioned in the press conference, and we fully agree with them, we are honoring the confidentiality obligations of the mediation, so I can't get into any details as to what was discussed or the substance, but the topics that he did bring up were topics that were discussed.
Any likelihood of just the arbitrators kind of in the same position, just coming to an impasse over and over and over?
No, they'll make a decision. The arbitration panel does not have the luxury of kicking the can down the road. They have to make a decision once they hear what both parties say and both parties present their case.
Well, you mentioned they can extend out past that 45-day period.
Well, I mean, they can extend out in terms of making sure that both parties are prepared, that whatever witnesses are available. So extensions only in terms of the actual arbitration hearings. They don't have the ability to extend just for the sake of extending and hoping things will get resolved. They will have to make a decision one way or the other.
To refresh at least my memory, is this the first time that the city has had to enter into binding arbitration?
To my mind, this is the first time the city has had to enter into binding arbitration, correct?
Are these arbitrations going to be public?
The expectation is that the arbitration proceedings will be public. Again, the arbitration panel will have quite a bit of discretion in determining what the ground rules will be, but we expect they will be in public.